People have an overwhelming desire to believe in something. Become the focal point of such desire by offering them a cause, a new faith to follow. Keep your words vague but full of promise. Emphasize enthusiasm over rationality and clear thinking. Give your new disciples rituals to perform. Ask them to make sacrifices on your behalf. In the absence of organized religion and grand causes, your new belief system will bring you untold power.
When I talk to people and I deal with other ladies and gents out there, it's a fun and interesting process, because in that moment it feels like an entirely new world is created. Like, that sounds really weird and corny, but just follow me, okay? When that happens, that person has their own set of orders, own set of rules, own set of justifications for things, right? And that's what they follow. And throughout that game that I have with them, I have to learn that, and then I can adapt to that. Yeah, maybe not change who I am, but understand them more and work with that a little bit, so that I can compromise or do anything with them, make myself look like a piece of shit or make myself look like a god. I understand that because there's rules and order, and when they hate me, I understand because the action I had a consequence, and it's all relative to each other. But then when you interact with life, sometimes, you try really hard to do something, and you have good intentions and all this stuff, and you feel like everything's going well, but then the world just bends you over raw, and it can be very frustrating. I've had some really fucked up issues with my car, and it's been like some of the most absurd things that you could never imagine happening to a car happened to me, and it's just like, what the hell, man? Like, I was trying to have good intentions, I was trying to do everything right, and I feel like as people in nature, we just naturally like to think that there's like a universe or luck or like God out there having order for us. I think we like to imagine that there is order and there is process to things. Even though I, as a person who's a skeptic and an atheist, I would say, no, that is not true. Naturally, my brain does want to believe that there is a reaction to the things I do and there is order. And I can't help myself from believing in that. And when these things happen and I'm confused because I felt like my intentions were correct and good, but the outcome was bad, I want to blame it on something, because it is hard for me to accept that I am in chaos. So I want to blame it on something, and that something typically ends up being, especially for most people, God. Like, let's say the being behind us, right? The entity that exists on a level lower than us is gonna be monkeys. The entity next of us will be God, let's just say, for example, right? If we are the monkeys in the situation, it is much easier for us to say that we are in a zoo and that there is a zookeeper, and that the things that we face can be pointed at the zookeeper. It is much easier to deal with that reality than to say that we are monkeys in the jungle and there is no one there. I am just saying that human psychology craves a God to blame. And it is an issue that proceeds to one of the only major psychological issues that people have, which is suicide. No big deal, right? But the issue is that it exists as a deficiency in people. And so just like any other supply and demand chain as capitalism works, there's a demand for something and people will supply it. And when people supply it, they don't supply it all the same. They'll give it to you in a manner in which 9 out of 10 times will make them profit. So the people that are selling have this extraordinary lack of discipline within themselves to control themselves from fulfilling their selfish needs, and they're abusing the people that have a lack of discipline with what they believe in. So you create things that become very horrendous. You start blending together your own personal ideals that help you together with the food you are selling. And choosing to ignore the struggles and finding reason for yourself on why the things happen, or accepting the fact that things don't happen for reasons and that is just chaos, and accepting that, avoiding that by delivering yourself into ignorance and purposefully trying to be unaware of things, that action, by some, is still known as suicide. In the wise words of Albert Camus, he said that there's truly only one philosophical problematic question, which is suicide. And there's two routes to this. There's literal physical suicide, and then there's philosophical suicide. I'll be exploring the philosophical one right now, And what he means by that is basically saying you give up on value and meaning in your own life and you throw it all up in the hands of something else. And he used this in the terms of God and religion. I don't mean to say that someone shouldn't believe in God or religion, because do as you will. I don't mean to be a naysayer or any of that stuff. Just because I'm a skeptic, I don't expect you to be one. We're different people, right? But it definitely is inappropriate to blindly believe anyone. This is a general standard that doesn't apply to just religious people. It applies to everyone. You should not be so believing and trustworthy of especially another man. There's been countless times where people were manipulated because of their beliefs. And the solution to that is to strengthen the people who are listening. Because you read half these books and every single one is going to say a very good message of just be a loving person, which isn't a crazy idea. It's a very healthy one that I feel like everyone should be following. But yes, when you take the belief and use it to spread what the message is not saying, then you have no longer been practicing the work of a God. You are just practicing the work of man.